Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association is threatening a severe strike action beginning August for what it describes as daylight robbery from government.
Have come back to work almost about 2 weeks ago, and we have not seen all the issues that because of that we went to strike being resolved. We are saying that by the end of this month, if we don't see the day of light, our members will decide what the next day line of action will be.
The sub-cabinet committee that is reviewing their salary discrepancies has also not addressed them. Now, will this strike action be legitimate? We'll find out answers from the powers that be on today's big story. The show is brought to you by Blue Rose Limited, Shelter for All, and Star Life Assurance. My name is Bright Nana Amfo. Now, straight to the action. Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association is threatening a severe strike action beginning August if government does not address their lingering salary discrepancies. Let's take a listen.
The 4-member committee was given 1 month to present its recommendation to Cabinet. By the 15th of July, that committee report should have been presented to Cabinet, and we have evidence that it has been presented to Cabinet, to the presidency. Today is the 12th of July. No, by the 15th of June, sorry, that committee would have. Today is the 12th of July. That is 1 month after, almost 1 month after that committee's report have been presented to Cabinet, and we have not seen the day of light. Our members have been patient. They review their services. They have come back because civil society and our cherished patients have constantly been pressurizing us to come back to work to provide the services. We have come back to work almost about 2 weeks ago, and we have not seen all the issues that because of that we went to strike being resolved. We are saying that by the end of this month, if we don't see the day of light, our members will decide what the next day line of action will be. And that might be very disastrous.
So does that mean
Right, so in the studio is the immediate past president of GOSPA, Raymond Tete, and the chairman of GOSPA, Mr. Stephen Kobe. Welcome to today's big story. Let me start straight away from the chairman. Now, after going back to work for 2 weeks, you also have issues with your employers.
Exactly so. You will recall that we went on strike because of our convention difference, our grade structure, and our market premium. And because of that, a 4-member committee was set up by the Cabinet,
right,
to try and resolve the issue. And they were given 1 month. The 1 month expired as far back as June 15th. Today is July 15th, and we've not heard anything about the resolution of this issue. And we think that it's not appropriate. 3 years we have been lingering with this issue. National Labour Commission have ruled on the grade structure. They have dismissed application for stay of execution, and yet still Fair Wages and Salary Commission is not implementing the ruling. Our market premium is with the presidency, and yet still we have also not seen anything about it. And that is affecting our membership, because our old salary structure that we were on, our salaries were far, far higher than this what we have been given. And it's making us worse off because it's lower than what we were receiving before, and it has made our pension reduce so drastically. So at the end of the day, we are losing twice.
So it's not a situation that is happening now. It has happened in the past. But let me go to Mr. Raymond Tete, the past immediate president. Now, it means that the difficulty with this issue actually started way back, not today.
Yes. Way back 2010, 2009, when the process of job evaluation was done.
Right.
We were migrated initially without our knowledge. And
you had no involvement in whatever happened at all?
The process was ongoing when we were migrated. So the National Labour Commission rendered it illegal. So we were re-migrated back onto the old salary structure. But what hurts most is the fact that the Ghana Health Services Council, which is the highest body that regulates, practice in the health system, saw it fit to recommend, a structure that must be used. And the National Labour Commission also looked at it and realized that it was in fairness because we had been engaged in a process with fair wages. And they themselves were also involved. So it was agreed upon that this structure should be used. Now, this structure is not being used. And what it means is that people who are supposed to have been promoted 3 years back are waiting.
Where they are.
Yeah, and these people are rendering services. So it is havoc. And it's denial of human rights. That's how I see it. Because one person or a commission is refusing to do what it has to do. And lately, the Ministry of Finance wrote to all institutions, specifically to the chairman of the Fair Wages, to advise on what structure, market premium, and conversion difference. If any,
Mr. Raymond Tete, you hold on. Let me go to the phone lines and try and speak to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Mr. Cornelius Yorson is with the Grievances Committee. Thanks so much for joining us right here on News at 10. Now, let me first of all ask you, the pharmacists are simply saying that if they don't get that response, they are going back on strike action. Now, quickly, the fair wages, what or how would you react to this?
You see, Mr. Raymond Tete is on record, the news, GTD, that the pharmacists were apologizing for their protracted strike action and that they will no more go on strike, they will follow due process. And that if anything at all, they will just do their normal 8 hours and forget about overtime or something. Mr. Raymond Tete, the same person who is speaking to you now, made this commitment on national television. We have nothing more to say. But what we have to say is that when you go on strike, you will not be paid for the strike days. It will not more be like those days that persons go on strike and they are paid. Because the court, in the recent ruling, gave a clear ruling that strike actions by essential services are illegal. Therefore, if you go on strike, then you are not to be paid for the days that you don't go to work. If the pharmacist can go on strike for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and they will not be paid and they can afford it, then they can go ahead. My advice to them is that follow due process. You pharmacists, you know.
Mr. Yorson, what do you mean by due process? According to them, for the past 3 years, this issue has been lingering. What is the due process here?
But they know that some of these issues are in court. Some of them, the court has given a ruling, etc. That is due process. Pharmacists know that it is not the Health Council that gives grading. The Fair Wages Act is very clear on who gives grading and regrading. They are aware who gives those things, who does that job. They are aware that it is not the Health Services Council that gives grades. And so if the Health Services Council gives a grade, then they themselves, they acted outside of their authority. And that's the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is saying that they will no more be allowed anybody to go that way. And so they are also in court challenging the decision by both the National Labour Commission and the Health Services Council. And I'm sure you heard about the last ruling where the Labour Commission lost on this issue. That is what we call due process.
So you're saying that, in effect, the fair wages is not on the wrong side. It is rather the pharmacist.
No, we cannot say we are wrong or we are right. But when due process goes through and somebody gives a ruling as in a court, then we all abide by the ruling. That's what it is. Ghanaians must learn to go by the verdict of a court of law. Ghanaians must learn that, otherwise it won't very well for us all of us. Ghanaians must learn to go by the ruling of a court. The court gave order or a ruling in the first one, and we all abide by it.
Mr. Johnson, don't drop the line. Stay on the line. Now, let me come to the chairman. Mr. Kokwe, the Fair Wages is saying that the court has made a ruling. The pharmacists should abide by the ruling.
Yes, the court made a ruling. The National Labour Commission is a quasi-judicial body. They made a ruling.
3 rulings.
And the 3 rulings that they made, one of the rulings, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission applied for stay of execution. It was dismissed. Why are they not implementing the ruling? Are they also applying the court, the law and order? Is that what we are talking about? They are supposed to implement the ruling and go to the court and appeal if they want to appeal for it. But they are not implementing it. Since January 23rd, 2013, they are not implementing. You have gone for stay of execution and you have been dismissed. The law says that you should implement the ruling and you are not implementing it. And you are going for the court of appeal. And that's not what it's supposed to be. The issue about the market premium,
so you're suggesting that they should implement, even if they want to go to the court of appeal, they should implement the ruling and go.
Exactly.
Right. Let me go back to Mr. Yorson. Mr. Yorson, I'm sure you are there, but the idea of implementing the ruling before proceeding to the Court of Appeal, has it crossed your mind, the mind of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission?
Mr. Kokwe misunderstands the whole process. When the National Labour Commission has given a ruling, they have to go to court and enforce it. It's only when they are in court to enforce that we can also go for a stay of execution. So he's gotten it all wrong. When the Labour Commission goes to court to enforce it, indeed, the Labour Commission has to gazette it. The Kokwe should ask himself whether the Labour Commission has gazetted any of those rulings he's talking about. So in effect, they are not law of any sort. So Mr. Kokwe should not go into legal matters. He doesn't understand it.
So you're saying that it is not your job to implement the ruling. Is that what you're saying? If I got you very well.
If the Labour Commission thinks that we are not implementing, they should go to court and enforce it. The last time we failed to implement, and pharmacists wrote a letter saying the Labour Commission is not enforcing their ruling. The Labour Commission went to court and lost on it. So the same way, they should go to court to try to enforce anything that they think is right, and we'll go to court and oppose it. That's the idea. It's not the other way around where you go and say execution, etc., etc. That's not the idea, please.
Again, Mr. Johnson, still on the line. Mr. Raymond Tete, now, there seems to be the Fair Wages thinking that GOSPA doesn't really understand the whole thing. Is it the case that you should rather go to court to have the ruling implemented?
Probably. I think he does not understand it. We handle the health of Ghanaians. We provide quality care.
Right.
We are thinking about lives of people. And for 3 years, you are keeping us disturbed. So, in other words, the service that we provide will be compromised. And that is bad. For 3 years. And using legal means to delay the process of doing what he has to do. Now, he said that I made the statement that we will not embark on strike. We have not said we are going on strike. All we are saying is that we will take a decision on what to do. Not necessarily strike. Strike is not the only means by which we can approach this issue.
Mr. Yorson is suggesting that GOSPA uses the law to deal with what is happening. You don't think so?
It can take forever. It can take forever. And that is why the Honorable Minister saw through it, that if we are going the legal way, this thing is going to be protracted. So they put together a 4-member committee,
right?
To look into the issues. You see, what is happening is that we are on one side, Fair Wages is on the other side. No matter the effort that even government makes towards solving this problem, Fair Wages just crosses it out. I was saying on the other hand, when you moved away from me, that the Ministry of Finance has written asking for advice to remigrate pharmacists. Fair Wages had advised the Ministry of Finance that they have remigrated us already. I mean, what is happening here? Even when we want to solve the problem, there are hiccups. It's frustration.
The GOSPA is not excited about resorting to the legal means to address this. Is it because of the implications, or you think that this issue should be resolved amicably between the parties? Mr. Kokwe, what do you think about it?
You see, we also respect the rule of law. And that is why we've patiently been waiting and going through the processes. And Yosin, he knows about that. What I'm saying is that National Labour Commission made a ruling. You apply for stay of execution. That stay of execution was dismissed. It implies that you have to implement the ruling. And then when you want to go further and appeal against it, you do it. That is the legal process. And you are not applying the legal process. So what about GOSPA? When GOSPA has patiently been waiting for these processes. You talk about the convention difference that has been the National Labour Commission sent to court. And the court actually maintained that we have been paid the convention difference. We have looked at the issue. The convention difference that they interpret is different from what is in the government white paper.
Mr. Kuku, hold it. Mr. Yosin, don't go yet. Let me speak to the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Tony Goodman. He's just joined us on this discussion. Mr. Goodman, thanks so much for staying there. Now, what is happening with the health sector certainly has come to your notice. We're told that a sub-cabinet committee is being formed to handle it. Now, apart from that, what is the ministry's position? What is it doing to get this issue resolved once and for all?
Thank you very much. We were doing a lot of things before the pharmacists or government and hospital pharmacists, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and Labour Commission went to court. And before then, we set up this committee under the chairmanship of the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations. So they have finished with their work. They've made some recommendations to the Chief of Staff. We've received copies as a ministry and we're looking at the report until they went to court. So we are only waiting to get the outcome of these court proceedings before we can do something or to implement our recommendation. So yes, this is where we are as a ministry.
And from where you sit, is this problem, can it be resolved from where you sit?
Oh no, we believe it can. Because when they were on strike, as a ministry, what we did was to invite them to tell them that give us this number of days. You were aware, we gave them some 30 days to just call off the strike and give us some 30 days to work out something for them. They did not listen to the minister. They were on strike for 3 good months. So we thought they were not ready to work with the ministry than to resolve to strike and then deal with the issue.
But their concern is that you don't seem to take them serious when they raise issues, because for the past 3 years, according to them, this issue has been lingering, and the ministry is not worried. Is that the ministry is not worried at all?
What is more serious than the sector minister inviting you to his office and then plead with you and say, call off the strike and give me this number of days. Take me for my word. I'm going to work out something for you. I believe whatever I'm going to do will end up inuring to your benefit. Then you said no. That which apart from that, I don't know what again somebody could do, because it's the sector minister who invited you and has given you some assurance that I'm going to work 1 or 2 for you. Then he said no, I'll still continue my strike until you went to court.
Finally, before I let you go, from what we're seeing now, do we see an end to this in the near future?
Oh, possibly. I believe we will definitely come to an end to this. It's because of the strike action that has delayed the process. Normally, if you have issues in court, what can we do as a ministry? We have to wait for the outcome of this court proceedings. So that really delayed the process. I believe we can now come together, come back to the table, whatever there is to we should not hold on to our position and say that I'm not going to agree to what you are saying. Let's at least 50-50, let's meet ourselves some halfway and say, okay, now there should be some ending to every litigation. So I believe we have some goodwill in terms of dealing with this issue if you ask them. So we've seen their letter. They've brought a letter to this ministry requesting to meet us. So we hope we're going to meet them to see how to deal with this issue. We don't expect them to go back to strike.
Thank you so much. Tony Goodman is the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Health, talking on today's big story. Now, Mr. Yawson, before I let you go, are we going to see an end to this? It's been dragging on and on and on. When are we likely? Is it likely to for us to see an end to this?
Well, you know something. What better end can there be than a court ruling or a court judgment? You see, I don't want them to go there about can there be an end, etc. When the court has given a ruling on aspects of it, those aspects that court has given a ruling, the matter ends with the court ruling. A party who is not happy to the court ruling goes further on appeal or etc. And see, let me tell you something. It is not a question of 50-50. See, the Swedish salary policy brings all public servants under one umbrella. Anything that you do for somebody, you do for A, B will come and ask, C will come and ask. What it means, therefore, is that to throw the whole policy out of gear, because you're not talking only about one person or one occupational group. You are talking about the total, and everybody sees what you have done for A or B outside the framework. That is why the thing is not about outside the framework. That is why the rule of law must be followed in a system of democracy where the rule of law comes. You go to the next level of the process, which we have done. You see, the Minister of Finance, we normally write letters to the Minister of Finance informing them of court rulings, etc. It is not the other way around. If somebody wrote a letter like that, it is irregular. The Minister of Finance, we inform them of court decisions. You see, so with the matter having been dealt with the court, this aspect having been dealt with the court, the matter has become redundant or moot. It is odious, as the lawyers would say. It has ended. So there's no issue about sitting down or etc. because it is a fair wage that has a mandate to manage these things. Any other person doing that will create problems for us. People should mind their own mandate and allow others to do their mandate. When people don't understand or are not happy, they move on to the next process. Otherwise, you will destroy the whole process for us.
And so you think that we should stick to the law?
Yes.
Instead of sitting down and talking.
Yes, boss. Otherwise, how else do you handle it? Because every other person will come and say, "Come and sit down with me." You can imagine the confusion. That's actually speaking there. Let me tell you, we have letters on our table that are telling us that we are watching what you are doing to the pharmacists. Mind that immediately you give them this, we are also coming.
Right.
And we, from where we sit, we are careful to be sure that the whole thing is looked at the whole integrated process, and not from a parochial or sectional interest.
Right. Thank you so much. Mr. Cornelius Yawson is with the Grievances Committee of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission there. And I can imagine the number of letters you have on your table. Let me come back to the studio and do the wrap-up. Mr. Kokwe, now, this is where the issue is. The ministry thinks that it's actually pleading for you to relax, sit down and talk, even though the Fair Wages thinks that you need to go according to the ruling. How do we get to the end of this from where we are?
You see, as I told you earlier on, we have been actually succumbing ourselves to the processes for the past 2 years. And this is essential service providers.
Right.
And he's quoting the law. And by the law, essential service providers, their issue is supposed to be resolved within 3 days. This is 2.5 years. It has not been resolved. And he's sitting down saying that if somebody comes and is watching, are you giving people by virtue of their merits? Or you are watching somebody saying that if you give the pharmacist, you are also coming? Is that what we are about?
Can we resolve this?
Yes, definitely we will resolve it. We have actually made
Would that
ourselves
be back
available.
on a strike?
Well, we have actually given ourselves
the whole of July.
The whole of July. We think that the whole of July should be enough for us to amicably resolve this issue. And then we will all go and do what we are expected of us. If the ministry is saying that they told us that we should, the same ministry, 2 ministers have come to our aid and we have called off the strike, told us that keep faith with the processes. We have kept faith with the processes. Nothing happened. And this is the 3rd minister. What, as human beings, what do you think we will do? Definitely, it will be difficult for our membership to actually think that, well, the minister would resolve the issue amicably. So that is why the strike lingered on for this long. But it's not. The first strike, it was only about 2 days. The second strike was 7 days. All because the ministers intervened.
You're threatening to prolong this one.
No, I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that...
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Kokwe. Thank you so much for speaking to me. The president of the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, Raymond Tete, is the past president, immediate past president of the association. And of course, Ghana has been talking about this particular issue. Pharmacists are not really happy about what is happening. They need their issues resolved. And of course, they are given the whole of July to see what can be done about their issues. Let's listen to what the public has been saying about the pharmacist issue.
Pharmacists in Ghana have threatened to embark on strike if government does not address their grievances. Today on Big Story, we hit the streets to find out what the public thinks about this decision by the pharmacists in Ghana.
I think it's not good, because if they are trying to go on strike, it's actually going to affect the country. You get it? Because not everybody is actually able to go to the hospital day in and day out to get it. And then moreover, some monies are not being able to afford when they go to the hospital. But then when you go to the pharmacy, you get some drugs there.
Get a representative, approach the government instead of going on strike or something like that, because more lives are at stake here. They're not just normal workers. That doesn't entail lives, because we're talking about precious lives here.
And then I think the government should see to them if there's any problem, because we recently had doctors going on strike, and then if pharmacists should also go on strike, then I don't think it's a good thing for the nation.
I'm saying I'm health insurance. Womu ekuta cash na ebeto duro no ye de ma wo ntia ma mi bisa wo mai bi o ye dwuma wo say adenti na ye kura health insurance no womu mfi ye na womu a ya ma wo mayi a wo to duro na ye no wo se wo mu no wo mayi yi ni kura na ye ntua wo mu ka scan che asa na wo nsaka nti ye be pa aban ne che so won hwe no nya hu bibi ma ye na ye say ye bre.
They can go on strike. We don't have any problem. We take our local medicine, so we don't have any problem with that.
I think they have to sit with the government, and if they are still insisting of going to the strike, I think we have our local medicines in town that we, the people of Ghana, can take. This Abodru Nazi.
Listen, this country is so polarized. Government can't do anything. What's government going to do to change what? It can't change anything. What I think we, the people, need to do is we need to change.
Well, taking your local medicines without the appropriate prescription, quite dangerous for your health. That's what the public on the pharmacist strike action. But a lot more of you have gotten to us on our social media platforms, and I'm going to quickly get to some of them who have gotten to us, and can quickly go through some of them. We asked you exactly what you want to see done because of the issue, and Kweku Dompre sent in this one, and he says there's no money, the country is broke. That's from Kweku Dompre. And then this one from Koko Boto CCK. So when you heard of strike, nothing else. Allow me to think. Well, I don't know what you mean. And then this one says every action or every strike action is legitimate. There is no cause without cause. I really don't know what you're saying here. And then AJ Foucault Kweku says this is serious. The government have to look into it, but only focusing on one side of governance. God help us. And then Ruben Griffiths Bequin says the strike aren't gonna solve the problem. I think there should be a better solution to address this problem. They should understand the current economy and give the government some time and readdress their petition. And then government said, this is from Salifu Ahmed. You said government said the country is broke, but all the MPs and ministers collect their salaries in full payment. Why? Well, a lot of you have sent in this. And then Niabe says, if the committee hasn't done its work, does it therefore mean that all communications necessary aren't working apart from strike? We need to get serious and put our country first. Arise, Ghana youth, for our country. And that is from one of our social media partners who have just sent in all of this. Thanks so much for having stayed this hour with us on today's big story. Don't forget that the show was brought to you by Blue Rose Limited, Shelter for All, and Star Life Assurance. You have more on myjoyonline.com. Stay with us right here on the Joy News. We'll have more coming up. My name is Bright Nanafo. Good evening and see you later on.